My name is Lila Hasib, and my legal name is Laura Brown, and I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I was born on September the 3rd, 1957, and in my family is just my sister, who's 3 years younger than me, and my mother and father. I would say I was close to my sister. She was 3 years younger than me, so she had to follow me around, you know how they do, and do everything that I did when we were growing up. She had different tastes than me. She liked to play cowboys and Indians and things like that, where I was playing with baby dolls and stuff like that growing up. So we were a close family. So I went to Ardmore Elementary School, which is the same school that my mother attended as a child. So I was saying, my mother was brought up Moravian, and then she changed to Presbyterian when my dad and her got married. My father was brought up Presbyterian, but he didn't attend church very often. But they thought it would be better to have one religion or one, you know, whatever, for the children. So my mother and father were members of the beginning families that started the church in Winston-Salem. There were other Presbyterian churches around, but they wanted one, I guess, in their neighborhood. So they started it in the basement of a pharmacy. And so as soon as, you know, I was born and whatever, they were big members of the church. There were maybe 100 people in the church only, not 100 families, 100 people. So I grew up in the church. We went to Sunday school and church every Sunday. My mother was in the choir. I was in the choir. There was this youth group. There were 4 girls that were the same age, me and 3 other girls, and maybe 4 boys. So we had a very small but close youth group that did a lot of things together. So in 1975, I went to University of North Carolina at Charlotte. About Islam to me, I didn't know anything about that religion. I never even heard of it before in my life. So he was telling me that Jesus wasn't the Son of God, and the summer before I went to university, I had been in a Bible group, and we were studying the Bible really, you know, very heavily. He was telling me that Jesus wasn't the Son of God, that God doesn't demean himself to become a person on the earth and eat food and so forth. So I couldn't really understand what he was saying, because Jesus definitely was the Son of God. He died on the cross, and if I don't believe that, I'm going to hell. And that's what we were taught, and that's what I believed. So he just continued talking to me slowly, and he was telling me some things like, you know, how people progress through the ages, and different prophets brought different laws, and logically he was talking to me about it. So I started understanding some of the points, and I went to the library on campus, and I got a book out, and I remember writing Surah Fatiha in Arabic. I still have that paper, and in English. And I was living in the dorm, and I also remember taking a prayer, like a towel, and praying in my dorm room, like I saw him doing sometimes. By this time, we were going out together. And so I just had different questions for him. Some of them he could answer, some of them he couldn't answer. Then I went to the library again, and I took out a big book that had different schools of thought. So all the 5 schools of thought were in this book. And we actually have this book now that my husband bought recently, because I never could find that book later. So I was looking at all the different rules about the book, in the book about the different schools of thought, and so I started to understand more and more about Islam, but still I wasn't convinced. The belief that Jesus is your Savior is very, very strong, so you can't just not believe that. You have to really be sure that that's not true. On with the questioning mind, so he said that the Quran is a miracle. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Jesus walked on water. Jesus healed the sick. Those are miracles. The Quran is a miracle. He said it's never going to be changed. There's no mistakes in it. So I read it looking for mistakes, and I still have it. You can see little question marks beside some of the ayats. So I just continued studying. This took 4 years. In 1979, Imam Khomeini came back to Iran. I graduated from university. He left right before I graduated to go home to see what's going on and to see what he could do to help. And when he came back, I was in summer school. I was thinking about becoming a teacher, all about women, but I wasn't a feminist at all. So one of them was, why do women have to pray behind men? One of them was, why can't a woman be a judge? I had finished my degree in criminal justice and psychology, and I wanted to be a probation officer for juveniles. So I did understand why women couldn't be judges. And a third one was, why do women have to wait 3 months before they can remarry? Or whatever, or 4 months, if whatever the ruling is. Why do they have to wait? And why can men get married like the next hour or whatever? I didn't understand that. That didn't. So they were equality questions more than anything. So of course I got those answered very easily by the women that were in the embassy, and that's kind of covered like my work. So for example, there's so many jobs I would never do because Islam wouldn't be happy with that job, you know, or Allah wouldn't be happy with that job. So Islam is just everything that is important is in the religion. So I can't say it changed my life because I was young when I became a Muslim, and it is my life.